I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yohana's putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. But before then, Thursday, it's going down at the Durham Armory, our annual all-black party. Last year was also the Hebrew Academy graduate. Commander General Yohana got something special for y'all. It is going down. What's happening? A full-blown Hebrew concert featuring Shar, UPK Natazal, Kwarak Ice. This is not something you want to miss. Join us at the Sheridan in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the Convention Center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, sending curses to them enemies.
Hey, Shalom Israel. This is a public service announcement to all the sisters out there. You already know what time it is. Them Passover corsages is blooming absolutely this year. If you a married sister, rock that red corsage. And for all the single sisters out there, white corsage was made just for you. Stop playing. You cannot be Passover ready without rocking one of these. Just $10 to complete that fit for the Lord's 54th annual Passover. Pre-order yours now. Click the link below for more info. For just $10, I got a feeling that this is just the right batch of flowers to have you looking on point and official. Sisters, make it your business to get you one, and we hope to see you there. Shalom Israel.
So I speak true, I change the whole thing. Taking my style, I'm far from a lane, girl, just let me put it down, baby. She on the road, can't get around in my coupe, me and you, we just cruising through the town lately. Ask me some questions, girl, do you mind? What would it take to make you mine, please? Tell me be you, and we can try. So I spit true, I change the whole thing. Taking my style, I'm far from a lane, girl, just let me put it.
Hey, Shalom Israel. This is a public service announcement to all the sisters out there. You already know what time it is. Them Passover corsages is blooming absolutely right this year. If you a married sister, rock that red corsage. For all the single sisters out there, the white corsage was made just for you. Stop playing. You cannot be Passover ready without rocking one of these. Just $10 to complete that fit for the Lord's 54th annual Passover. Pre-order yours now. Click the link below for more info. For just $10, I got a feeling that this is just the right batch of flowers to have you looking on point and official. Sisters, make it your business to get you one, and we hope to see you there. Shalom Israel.
So I speak true, I change the whole thing. Taking my style, I'm far from a lane, girl, just let me put it down, baby. She on the road, can't get around in my coupe, me and you, we just cruising through the town lately.
If I die for my niggas, to be an honor and I'm blessed. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Brotherhood is a weapon. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. If I die for my niggas, it'll be an honor and I'm blessed. Better watch how you stepping, cause brotherhood. I lay my life down right now for all my sisters and brothers because I love them. I see them dapping and hug them. It's amazing to see how well we adapt from the struggle. Born again from a life of sin, trapped in the gutter. My mind frame was to kill my own kind. Feeling inferior, waking up ready to die. Run with them killers, so it's just a matter of time. For why take your life or let you take mine? That's when I realized how you stepping, cause brotherhood is a weapon. Hey, 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 hey.
Shalom, shalom. Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbarakatah to all my brothers. Yahweh Shema Ulatham Bashim, Yahweh Shad to all my sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yohana. And what we do is we teach the blacks, Hispanics, and natives that they are God's true and only chosen people. And with being the Most High true and only chosen people comes with a set of responsibilities. And those responsibilities to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, because those law, statutes, and commandments teaches us on how to love each other properly. Now, in about a week and about 7 days from now, our oppressor, our enemy, has dictated a day to symbolize love. Our enemy has dictated a day for you to show your love to your people. Show your love to your woman. Show your love to your husband. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be. Our oppressor said that's the day that you're supposed to love them, supposed to give them gifts and candy and everything. You got to do what your oppressor says. Master says it, you got to do it. That's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But today we're going to dive into the history of that day. You're going to see what that day is truly and really about. We're going to get into the history. We're going to get into some of the symbolisms. And we're going to get into the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to open up the class to any questions. If you got any questions, you know what I'm saying, tap on in, write them on down. No matter what it's about. It could be on topic, off topic. If I'm able to answer it, I will. You know what I'm saying? If I'm able to answer your question, I definitely will. So just type it on in, and we're going to see what it do from there. You know what I'm saying? But give me a second, I get my share on. You know what I'm saying? Give me a sec as I get my share on. And I'm going to give y'all a sec to type in y'all questions. In fact, let me overlay this chat too. No, I ain't even going to overlay. I'm going to show. Shalom, shalom, Bobby. Shalom. Let me get a moment to share real quick. Out of all that, I forgot. Damn. Let me see if I can do it now. All right, all right. Bear with me, bear with me. Bear with me. Let me make sure everything working properly. All right, all right. All right, should be rolling smoother now. But if you got any questions, type them on in. But the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go through an article real quick. We're going to go through, see the dark side. We're going to see what the real roots of Valentine's Day is. You know what I'm saying? We're going to look in the roots of it, go through some reputable sources. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Hold on, I ain't even. Bear with me. There we go. All right, this is from the National Press. You know what I'm saying? The NPR. And the name of this is The Dark Origins of Valentine's Day by Arnie Siepel. Don't know who that is, right? But Valentine's Day is a time to celebrate romance and love and kissy face fealty. But the origins of this festival of candy and cupids are actually dark, bloody, and a bit muddled. Though no one has pinpointed the exact origin of the holiday, one place to start is ancient Rome. Interesting, interesting. I like how they set a couple of things up in here. The Roman celebration were violent. And if I don't know if you notice, but there's a lot of domestic violence during that time of year too. I guess it's the spirit of it. That's the whole spirit of it. From February 13th to the 15th, the Romans celebrated the feast of Lupercalia. The men sacrificed a goat and a dog, then whipped women with the hides of the animals they had just slain. The Romans romantics were drunk. They were naked. There's a lot of drinking going on Valentine's Day. There's a lot of drunkenness. People can't control the alcohol. And a lot of violence breaks out from them. They were naked. A lot of nudity, a lot of sexual activity. There's a lot of sexual deviancy going on that day too. Noel Linsky, now a religious studies professor at Yale University, told NPR in 2011, young women would line up for the men to hit them, Linsky said. They believe this would make them fertile. So they believe a good whipping with some whips, because that's what animal hide turns to. Whips are made from animal hide. So they would take the animal skin, make strips out of them, dip them in blood, and they will whip the women with them, and they thought that will make them fertile. These are the people that you look up to. These are our oppressors, our enemies. And it's stupid stuff like this that makes them unworthy to lead this planet. They think that a good whipping will make them more fertile. The retardation is amazing. The brutal feat included a matchmaking lottery in which young men drew the names of women from a jar. So basically, kind of like an auction. I know there's some fake Israelite groups out there that will auction their women on the Passover. Some fake Israelite groups in purple will auction their women off during the Passover. That's similar to drawing a name out the hat. You don't really know who you're getting. You don't really know. But that's what they do. They draw the women's name from a jar. The couple would then be coupled up for the duration of the festival. So while the festival is going on, that woman is yours to use and abuse. That woman is now your sex slave for the duration of the festival. Or longer if the match was right. If y'all are keen to each other, it could last longer than the festival. But for 2 days, that woman is yours to do whatever with. For 2 whole days. That's disgusting. And these are the type of people that y'all look up to and want to be like. You know what I'm saying? Now, the ancient Romans may also be responsible for the name of the modern day of love. Emperor Claudius II executed 2 men, both of them named Valentine, on February 14th, on different years in the 3rd century. Their martyrdom was honored by the Catholic Church with the celebration of St. Valentine's Day. That's how it became from pagan to Christian, right there, by the spilling of blood. Typical Christian activity. Typical. A drawing depicts the death of St. Valentine. One of them anyway, the Romans executed 2 men by that name on February 14th of different years in the 3rd century. So this is the slaying of them in this picture right here. Let's go more into it. As the holiday spread and involved later Pope Gelasius, a muddled thing in the 5th century by combining St. Valentine's Day and Lupercalia to expel the pagan rituals. See, that's what Christians do. All Christian holidays from Thanksgiving, Easter, you know what I'm saying, Christmas, Valentine's Day, New Year's, all Christian holidays and festivals have pagan rituals in them. Know why? Because that's the only way they could get the pagans to join into their religion. You know what I'm saying? Like, people like to think that the English had beef with the Vikings because of ethnicity or nationality, but no, they are the same people. What they were beefing over was pagan rituals and Christianity. It was a spiritual beef. So to get these pagans to join them, there's a lot of blood spilled. But they also had to agree to take some customs of theirs onto Christianity. And that's why you have a lot of pagan rituals on Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. But the festival was more of a theatrical interpretation of what it had once been. It was more of an act than literal now. It was a little more of a drunken revel, but the Christians put clothes back on it. That didn't stop it from being a day of fertility and love. So all the Christians did, they stayed drunk, they put some clothes on, but all the sexual deviancy continued. All the sexual deviancy continued. Raping women for a couple of days, that continued. No different from what's going on today. That woman that you buying chocolate for, buying roses and all this good stuff, she ain't gonna be there forever. Because as soon as you stop buying chocolate and roses, she gone. As soon as you buy another woman chocolate and roses, she's gone. It's just that simple. Around the same time, the Normans celebrated Gallatin's Day. Gallatin meant lover of women. That was likely confused with Saint Valentine's. Instead of Galentine, it was Valentine, right? At some point, in part because they sound alike. As the years went on, the holiday grew sweeter. Chaucer and Shakespeare romanticized it in their work, and it gained popularity throughout Britain and the rest of Europe. Handmade paper cards became the token du jour in the Middle Ages. So they were giving out, you know, Valentine's Day cards way back then. Same thing that you forcing your child to do. Go to school with all these cards and candies, the same things they were doing back then. These are not our things. These are not our practices. You know what I'm saying? These are not the things that we do. Hold on. It look like we got I've been going for a little bit. Let me see what we got going on. Oh, we got the nut who keeps on repeating the same long rant. Just ignore him. He's just gonna keep posting the same rant. You know what I'm saying? But let's get with the scripture. Let's get with a quick scripture real quick. Let's go with Amos 5:21. Let me type it up in there. All right, we're in Amos 5:21, right? So let's get that. Give y'all a couple seconds to get there. Amos chapter 5, verse 21. I hate. See, a lot of y'all like to believe that that the God of the Bible does not hate. Christianity teaches us that. But it's straight up the Most High saying that he hates. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. He hates and despises our feast days. What's a feast day? A feast day is a celebration where y'all get together for whatever reason and feast. Everybody eating plentifully, a lot of food being cooked. And from that food that's being cooked, the Most High does not smell in your solemn assemblies. Like he enjoys the smell of the lamb and the sacrifices that's made for the Passover. He does not enjoy the scent of that steak or pork chop or ribs or whatever you eating on Valentine's Day. That lobster you about to buy that woman, you about to buy her mad lobster and shrimp and thinking the Most High is going to bless your relationship. He won't care 2 cents about your relationship. Plain and simple. He won't care a thing about it. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? I hate, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though you offer me burnt offerings on your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard them the peace offerings of your fat beasts. So he don't care. But whatever you think that this feast or whatever it is, people go out on Valentine's Day and help, they believe it will help their relationship, sustain the relationship, help it grow. But most ain't in it, it ain't gonna last. It's not gonna grow, it's not gonna last, it's gonna crumble. It's gonna crumble like most things that's in your life. It's gonna fall apart. You know what I'm saying? Now that we got a little dark history of it, we're gonna go into another article real quick. We're gonna go into Lupercalia. Understand where it roots from. Like we understand, I prove that it rooted from Lupercalia, but let's get a little more understanding on what Lupercalia is. All right, let's see. Now we ain't gonna do no Wikipedia. I like some History Channel. History Channel. History Time. Lupercalia. Lupercalia was an ancient pagan festival held each year in Rome on February 15th. Through Valentine's Day, shares its name with the martyred Christian saint. Some historians believe the holiday is actually an offshoot of Lupercalia. Unlike Valentine's Day, however, Lupercalia was a bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration, awash with animal sacrifices. Now, I don't see how that's any different from Valentine's Day. They said, unlike Valentine's Day, Lupercalia was bloody, violent, and sexually charged. I don't see the difference. I mean, Valentine's Day, there's going to be stripper parties everywhere. Valentine's Day, there's going to be orgy parties everywhere. Valentine's Day, there's going to be a lot of violence. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be as bloody as can be. That's what Valentine's Day is. Every Valentine's Day. Every Valentine's Day, some man's going to see his woman with another man. Somebody's going to die. It's how it is every year. It's very bloody, very violent, very sexually charged. Lupercalia with a bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration awash with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking and coupling in the hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility. So this one's giving you a little more details. Not the full details, but a little more, right? They also believe that the whipping of those bloody animal hides on them actually ward off evil spirits along with infertility. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Lupercalia and the legend of Romulus and Remus. I don't know if you know who Romulus and Remus is, but that's the story behind the founding of Rome, right? So let's get with it. No one knows the exact origin of Lupercalia, but it has been traced back as far as the 6th century BC. According to Roman legend, the ancient king Amulius ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews and founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. So, Romulus and Remus' uncle decided to throw his nephews in a river because his sister couldn't stay celibate. Why is he worried about his sister being celibate? Why can't his sister have a husband? Well, we all know about the incestuous nature of Greeks and Romans. We know they are very incestuous. They are full of incest, right? Now let's continue. A servant took pity on them, however, and placed them inside a basket on the river instead. Sound familiar, right? Sound like a very familiar story. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. The river god carried the basket and the brothers downriver to a wild fig tree, where it became caught in the branches. The brothers were then rescued and cared for by a she wolf in a den at the base of Palatine Hill, where Rome was found. Okay, I don't know how this sounds to y'all, but our enemy is full of insanity. A wolf would have ate the babies, and then I wish the wolf did, and then Rome would not have been here if the wolf ate those babies. That's how you know they're full of crap, because a wolf would have ate those babies. And then they were raised by the wolf. Like, how did the wolf sustain them? How did the wolf feed them? How? Like, our people, not our people, their people seem to believe the wildest stories, and we're the uneducated ones. How did they ever get to lead and rule this planet with these type of stories? But let's continue. The twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife and learned their father's trade. After killing the uncle who ordered their death, how did they know that was their uncle? I'm digressing. That's not the point of this, right? But how? I mean, they were in the as the babies and the wolf found it. There's some shepherd found. Now, how did the shepherd know? Like, let's continue. They found the cave den of the she wolf who nurtured them and named it Lupercal. It's thought Lupercalia took place to honor the she wolf. It probably did. You know, that shepherd probably did have sex with that wolf and pleased the Roman fertility god Lupercus. So the wolf was named Lupercal. The Greek god, the Roman god of fertility is Lupercus. A lot of Luper. Ritual sacrifice, right? Talked about the ritual sacrifice of Lupercalia. Lupercalia rituals took place in a few places. Lupercal Cave, on Palatine Hill, and within the Roman open air. Public meeting place called the Commentium. The festival began at Lupercal Cave with the sacrifice of one or more male goats and a representation of sexuality and a dog. Okay. Let me get all right. They sacrificed a They sacrificed one or more male goats. Those goats supposed to represent sexuality. Don't know how. That's how they did it. And the dog. The dog was just put in there. I don't know what the dog supposed to represent. They probably just wanted to kill something extra. Let's continue. The sacrifice was performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. Luperci, a group of Roman priests. Yeah, they're named after the wolf too. A group of Roman priests afterwards. The foreheads of two naked Luperci were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. So they would dip the knife after they sacrificed the animals. They would dip the knife in the blood of that animal and then smear that blood on the foreheads of their two naked priests. I don't know about y'all, but this sounds very frat like. Sounds something like they were doing a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? This is like a hazing ritual. They probably do this weird stuff. The blood was then removed with a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Luperci laughed. So they got the blood on them, and then they take the blood off by dipping some wool in some milk and wiping the blood off. Okay. All right, enough said. Feast of Lupercal. In ancient Rome, feasting began after the ritual sacrifice. So after they sacrificed the goats and the dog, yes, dog was common for them to eat back then because that's what they do. They eat dogs. Lupercal was, when the feast of Lupercal was over, the Luperci cut strips, also called thongs, of fibrua of goat hide from the newly sacrificed goats. They then ran naked and nearly naked around Palatine, whipping any women within striking distance with the thongs. So they got these strips, they dip them in blood, they just swinging them wildly and hitting women. They're just beating women all across their naked backs. Everybody's naked, mind you. The priests are naked, the women are naked, everybody naked. Random men just walking around naked and they just getting beat with whips. During Lupercalia, the men randomly chose a woman's name from a jar to be coupled with them for the duration of the festival. Often the couple stayed together until the following year's festival. Many fell in love and married. Over time, nakedness during Lupercalia lost popularity. The festival became more chaste, if still undignified, and women were whipped with on their hands and fully clothed men by fully clothed men. Plutarch's life of Julius Caesar. Caesar famously refuses a golden crown presented to him by Mark Antony during the feast of Lupercalia. Right? Saint Valentine. There are several legends surrounding the life of. Oh, we don't got to read it. I wanted to talk about Lupercal. You know what I'm saying? See, we are not supposed to be doing what they do. You know what I'm saying? Let's get Proverb 3 and 31. Let me pop that in there. I think that's what I want. I'm not sure. Let me get there with you. Yeah, this is what I wanted. All right, if you're there, read along with me. You know what I'm saying? All right, you ready? Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor. Yo, we ain't supposed to be envying nothing that they do. You see, they partially retarded. They believe their patriarchy of Rome was raised by wolves from darn near birth. They were placed in a basket, floated down a river. The river got hung up by some trees, and the wolf came and grabbed them up. The wolf came and grabbed them. The wolf nurtured them somehow. Guess they were raised off of the wolf's breast milk. They were doing all types of, they believe all types of craziness. They believe getting whipped by some animal skins going to get them, going to make them fertile. You know what I'm saying? The women practice whoredom. You know what I'm saying? They belong to a man during this time for 2 days or longer. You know what I'm saying? It's their whole way of thinking is weird. Why do we envy them? Why do we want everything they got? That's why we celebrate Valentine's Day. We celebrate Valentine's Day because we want everything that they have. We want to be just like them. They're out there giving their women gifts. You see these white women getting all types of flowers and roses and chocolates. And now you want them. And you looking at your man with all types of disgust because he ain't getting them for you. As if he ain't got more important things to think about and do. Like he got to worry about you being happy about some roses and some chocolates. You know the roses are going to die anyway. They're going to die in a couple of days and you still want them. That chocolate's going to be ate up in seconds. And you're going to give him some tail that he already had. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing special about that day. He probably been giving you all types of gifts throughout the year anyway, but there's something about Valentine's Day. If he don't give you Valentine's Day, if he don't give you a gift on that day, you feel some type of way. It has to be that day. It can't be no other day. It can't be no other day. See, as long as the man gives you gifts on your birthday, Valentine's Day, and Christmas, those are all 3 days where he said when our enemy says he's supposed to give you a gift. And those are the only 3 days that you actually appreciate him. You don't even really appreciate him. You just pretend to. On those 3 days, and those 3 days only. You know what I'm saying? But if you got any questions, you can type them on in. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Check it out. Valentine's Day is one of his ways. Lupercalia is one of his ways. All that extend from Roman traditions. You know what I'm saying? So you want to take part of his holiday, that means you're choosing his way. You're choosing his lifestyle. You're choosing his custom. And you doing that is a problem. And it's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't see it right now. But if you think about it just for a little bit, it ain't something that we started. It ain't something that we do. It's something that they do. So you're choosing his way. You know what I'm saying? Let's drop that. Let's go into some of the symbolism. Let's go to the biggest symbolism. What is the biggest symbol of Valentine's Day? What is the biggest symbol that you could think of that represents Valentine's Day? Can you think of it? Put it like this. It's the heart. It is the heart. It is the heart. It is the heart. We're going to talk about it right now. All right? Just read along with me, okay? This is from the anthropologist.livejournal.com. Anthropologist is somebody who studies customs, um, you know, cultures and stuff like that. All right, a female bum behind Valentine symbol. Like this is the thing that's behind the Valentine symbol is a female bum. Like if you look at a woman's backside, especially when you're behind her and she's bent over, it looks like an upside down bum. It looks like an upside down heart. It looks like two cheeks, straight up and down two cheeks, and we're gonna get into it because sexual deviancy is all over Valentine's Day. But this article is by Jennifer Vegas for Discovery News. In February 13, 2006, the familiar double-lobed heart symbol seen on Valentine's Day cards and candy was inspired by the shape of human female buttocks, as seen from the rear, according to the professor of psychology who studied the origin, history, and symbolism of the February 14th holiday. Right? Gardino Pranzaroni of Rook College in Salem, Virginia, told Discovery News that he analyzed essential literary and speculative evidence from mythology and secondary sources, which lead to his theory. He believes one rather obvious bit of evidence is that the heart symbol does not directly duplicate the heart human organ. The twin lobes of the stylized version corresponds roughly to the paired auricles and ventricle chambers of the anatomical heart, Pranzaroni said, but added that the organ is never bright red in color. Like we've never seen a heart that's actually bright red, right? And its shape does not have the invagination at the top of it. It doesn't point down in the V at the top, nor the shape point at the base, and it doesn't point at the bottom. So really the heart symbol really has nothing to do with the anatomical heart. They don't look alike at all. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Mazzaroni indicated that the ancient Greeks and Romans could have originated the links between human female anatomy and the heart shape. The Greeks, he said, associated beauty with the curves of the human female behind. So, the Greeks were saying that, they like some curves on their booty. Unfortunately, not a lot of them had that, which makes sense why the Africans were so chased by the Greeks. The Greek goddess of beauty, Aphrodite, was beautiful all over, but was unique in that her buttocks were especially beautiful. He explained. Her shapely, rounded hemisphere was so appreciated by the Greeks that they built a special temple Aphrodite Caliphigos, which literally meant goddess with the beautiful buttocks. I'm gonna look that up to see if that's real. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. I gotta look that up and see if that's real. Because I heard of the temple. Never knew what the actual part, what that meant. So bear with me 1 sec. Bear with me 1 sec. I will show it on here too. Give me a sec. Hold on. Hold on. Nope. Glucose is how you say buttocks. Glucose, which makes sense. That's what the butt muscle is called. This was probably the only religious building in the world that was dedicated to the buttocks worship. Hold on, let me put the whole thing. Maybe that might help. I don't know where he's getting that from. But he admitted that it was possible that the heart symbol represented both male and female glutes. The group that includes the three large muscles of each buttocks that control thigh movement. But he said, I think the Valentine's heart more closely fits the rounded female anatomy rather than the angular, compact, and slimmer male butt. So he's actually checked out some male butts. Valentine's Day heart type heart symbols first became popular in 15th century Europe as a suit designation on playing cards. As it is possible that the Renaissance fondness of classical literature and history brought forth the Greek interest in the female buttock shape, which Prazzaroni indicated also mirrors the basic outline of female breasts. Well, the top does. The two bumps curving down with the cleavage in the middle. It makes sense. So when you see that heart, you get that heart shaped card for Valentine's Day. You shake it, turn it upside down, you shake it. That might be Miley Cyrus twerking. That's Miley Cyrus twerking. You know what I'm saying? Because she ain't got nothing. In the past, other researchers such as historian Erwin Panofsky have claimed that the Valentine's heart shape dates to prehistoric times and was first observed in Spanish Stone Age caves. That means Stone Age caves in Spain. When you see Spanish, that means pertains to Spain. Sort of, kind of not belonging to, because it's a cave, it don't belong to. But Spanish, that means it belongs to Spain. So it doesn't mean that it's in America. That belong to Spain as Spanish. During the 14th century, a handful of scholars described the heart as being an inverted pine cone with the tips pointed downward. Okay. The description was even included in the earliest edition of Gray's Anatomy. It noted Italian artist Giotto also sometimes depict their heart like pine cones. Okay, so again, from the point they're trying to figure out some things. Let's drop down a bit. Eric Jagger is a professor of English at the University of California at Los Angeles and the author of the Books of the Heart, which includes information on early heart imagery. Jagger told Discovery News, I think Dr. Perazzoni's theory is very amusing, but suggests that the other historians might have mulled over the buttocks heart-shaped link before. So Pranzaroni ain't the first one to think of it. Other people, thought of it too. Pranzaroni admitted that any interpretation of this kind of material is purely speculative when we're not there when goddesses, symbols, and paintings were originally created. He added, hey, it's only Valentine's Day. Most people enjoy it and don't get too serious about it unless you don't get to the Valentines you were expecting. That's just talking trash. But the bottom line is this, right? Valentine's Day symbolism is all the way wicked, all the way full of confusion, full of disgusting imagery, full of blood, full of violence, full of just pagan stuff. It's not our culture, bottom line. And it's not really ever really been about love. It's never really been about love. You know what I'm saying? But let's go into some more symbolism. Let's go into some more symbolism. What's another form of symbolism when you think about Valentine's Day? What's another form of symbolism? Let me help y'all. That's not what I wanted to press. Let me help y'all. Valentine's Day has this man, well, baby, flying around with a bow and arrow, and his name is Cupid. Cupid's another big symbolism of Valentine's Day. How did he become the unofficial mascot for Valentine's? Unofficial? I thought he was official. I thought he was the official symbol, official mascot of Valentine's Day, because I can't think of anything else. You know what I'm saying? You got the Easter Bunny for Easter. You got Santa for Christmas. You got Cupid for Valentine's Day. I thought it made sense. But let's get with it. The mention of Cupid typically conjures up images of a cherubic infant wielding a bow and arrow. But this wasn't always the case. Long before the Romans adopted and renamed him, and way before his association with Valentine's Day, Cupid was known to the Greeks as Eros, the handsome god of love. All right? So, Cupid in Greek mythology. So, Roman mythology and Greek mythology borderline the same thing, believe it or not. They just change the name every now and then. One of the first authors to mention Eros, circa 700 BC, was Hesiod, who described him in Theogony as one of the primeval cosmogonic deities born in the world egg, but later accounts of the lineage of Eros vary, describing him as the son of Nyx and Erebus. So these are the people you follow. Their god has two beginnings. He was the beginning, and he has parents. It's weird. Son of Nyx and Erebus, or Aphrodite and Ares, or Iris or Zephyrs, or even Aphrodite. And so Aphrodite's a hoe. The Greek goddess Aphrodite has two separate husbands. She's a hoe, who would have been both his father and grandfather. So Zeus would have been the father and grandfather because Zeus is Aphrodite's father. It's weird. But this is what they are into. This is what they into. These are the people that you follow. You follow people who practice incest, which is fully against the scriptures. Fully against the scriptures. But let's continue. Armed with a bow and a quiver filled with both golden arrows to arouse desire and leaden arrows to ignite aversion. Arrows struck the heart of God's immortals and played with their emotions. And one story so basically he has a quiver and he got two different arrows in it. You know what I'm saying? One arrows to, make you want somebody, other ones to, make you avert. So, in one story from ancient Greek mythology, which was later retold by Romans, because they got the same thing, Cupid, aka Eros, shot a golden arrow at Apollo, who fell madly in love with the nymph Daphne, but then launched a leaden arrow at Daphne so she would be repulsed by him. So this Eros is playing games. Cupid plays games. Cupid and Psyche. In another allegory, Cupid's mother, Venus, Aphrodite, became so jealous of the beautiful mortal Psyche that she told her son to induce Psyche to fall in love with a monster. Instead, Cupid became so enamored with Psyche that he married her, with the condition that she could never see his face. Eventually, Psyche's curiosity got the better of her, and she stole a glance, causing Cupid to flee in anger. After roaming the known world in search of her lover, Psyche was eventually reunited with Cupid and granted the gift of immortality. In the poetry of the archaic period, Eros was presented as a studly immortal who was irresistible to both man and gods. So Eros was a homosexual too. But by the Hellenistic period, which is the Roman times, which is Greek times actually, Greek and Roman, more Roman. But he was increasingly portrayed as a playful, mischievous child because of his association with love. 9th century Victorians credit with popularizing Valentine's Day, and given the holiday its romantic spin, began depicting his cherubic versions of Cupid on Valentine's Day cards in a trend that has persisted until this day. So, when you follow in Valentine's Day, when you celebrate Valentine's Day, you're actually celebrating a Greek god called Eros. You're celebrating Greek lore with Lupercal. You are celebrating everything that has nothing to do with your ancestry, nothing to do with your people. You are celebrating literally nothing but madness. That's why our ancestors told us to not envy our oppressor and choose none of his ways. Because choosing his ways is definitely going to draw you further from the Most High. Choosing his ways is definitely going to draw you further from where we need to be as a people. You know what I'm saying? But I want to let's go to Luke 12 and 34. Didn't mean to do that. go to Luke 12 and 34. We ain't supposed to be choosing none of his ways. If you got any questions, you can ask them right up in there. You know what I'm saying? Ask all your questions. I'll be able to see them in the joint real quick. Well, where am I at? Luke 12 and 34, right? Luke chapter 12, verse 34. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. It's funny how it said heart. But let me tell you something. The heart biblically means your mind. It doesn't mean this. All this does is pump blood. It has nothing to do with your emotions. Not at all. Your heart has to do with your thoughts, the way you think. So where your mind is, that's where your treasure is. So when you out there celebrating Valentine's Day, you're not really doing it because you love that person. You're doing it because you envy your oppressor. You're doing it because you want to be like your enemy. You're doing it because you want to keep up with the Joneses. You could do everything you're doing on Valentine's Day any day of the year, any other day. You're only doing it on that day because you were told to do it. And as a good slave, that's why you're doing it. Because that's where your heart is. Your heart is in being a good slave. You don't want to upset the master. You don't want to upset your woman. You don't want to upset anybody. You ain't really prepared for war. No, you're too soft. Let's be real. Most men don't care about Valentine's Day. It's only the women do. Only reason why we celebrate in the first place is because women want to. Stand up. Grow a backbone. Start following these law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Let's drop that. Matter of fact, now I was about to talk about it too. I didn't even read it. Hold on. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. What does that mean? Let your loins be girded about and your light be burning. Like I was just saying, stand up. Have some vigor about what you believe in. Have some standards. That's our problem. We don't have any standards. We just doing whatever our oppressor tells us to do. And every time we do that, we end up in the clutch. We end up in a bad situation because our oppressor does things because that's what he could do. He wasn't given the law, statutes, and commandments. Let me give you an example. Black, Hispanic, natives, we eat pork, right? So does everybody else. They don't just eat pork, they eat cat, rat, dog, weirdest things that you can find, just the weirdest stuff, right? But who's leading them high blood pressure? Who's leading in diabetes, gout? The law was given to us. That's why we get those things. It wasn't given to them. It wasn't given to them at all. Because we're breaking the Most High's laws by celebrating Valentine's Day because we're not supposed to be celebrating none of their oppressors' holidays. We have our own group of holidays, our own listing of holidays. And it's all in Leviticus. No, it's not even in Leviticus. Where is it at? Is Leviticus 21? Yeah, I think it's in Leviticus 21. We have our own holidays, man. No, it's not Leviticus 21. Numbers 21. Let me see. No, but we got it somewhere in the scriptures. I haven't been there in a long time. I haven't a little rusty with it. But we have our own holidays. Plain and simple. Most High gave us a list of our own holidays. And that's what we're supposed to be celebrating. But let's drop that. Let's get 1 John 3 and 18. All right. Read along with me. My little ones, let us not love in word, neither in tongue. What does that mean? Let us not love in word, neither in tongue. You saying all day, I love you, I love you, I love you means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Saying it doesn't mean a thing. Because saying it just means a sound. It's at the very most, saying it just means it's an emotion. At the very most. So let us not love in word or in tongue. But let's continue. But in deed and in truth. Now, what does that mean? We should be loving in deed and in truth. What does that mean, in deed and in truth? Let me tell you what it means to love in deed and in truth. Indeed is in works. The things that the actions that you do, the action that you partake in, that's loving, and that's how you show love. You know what I'm saying? Taking care of your family, that's how you show love. You know what I'm saying? Teaching, that's how you show love. You know what I'm saying? Helping each other out, looking out for each other, that's how you show love. Just saying love, 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 buying candy and chocolate, that's not love. If you believe that's love, you're a child. You're a child. You're straight up and down a child. But to love in deed and in truth, that's the most important part. What does it mean to love in truth? What does that mean? To love in truth. If you know what it means to love, like it says to love indeed, and I explained that loving indeed is loving in action. What does it mean to love in truth? If you know that, type it in. Matter of fact, if you got a preset for it, type it in. Give y'all a couple of seconds. All right. No preset. Let's get to a preset. Let's go to 2nd John, the next book over. Oops, let me get there. 1 is 6. Oh, I never put that 1 John 3 and 18 up there, did I? Hold on, let me put that up there too, real quick. That's the scripture we was at before. This is where we are at now. All right, we're going to 2nd John 1 and 6. And this is love. Like, this is in truth. What is the truth? The truth is the words of the scripture. Truth is beyond honesty. Truth is beyond honesty. Truth is these scriptures. And to love in truth, let's find out what loving in truth is. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment that, as ye have heard from the beginning, ye should walk in it. So that's what love is. Love is walking in his commandments. What is walking in his commandments? That means following and doing and living and practicing those law, statutes, and commandments. Now, how can I pertain that to loving one another? Let's see. Let's think of something real quick. If I love my brother, I am not going to sleep with his woman. If I love my homie, I'm not going to molest his kids. If I love my grandma, I'm going to tell her that eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobsters was killing her. If I love my cousins, I'm going to tell them that the drugs that they are using is what's destroying them. That's how you love in truth. You tell them the truth. You tell them the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. Yeah, it's going to get on their nerves. They're probably going to hate you for it. So be it. Remember, they hated Christ first. They hated Christ way before they hated you. Christ was doing this. Christ was telling brothers their wrongs. Christ was teaching brothers how to do better. And that's how you love too. By teaching brothers, by teaching sisters. What I'm doing right now is literally showing y'all love. Literally what I'm doing right now is showing y'all love. You know what I'm saying? But let's get with it. Actually, that goes into something else. But now let's continue with it. For many deceivers had entered into the world. I'm just going to stop right there. Because many people have deceived you with that, I love you. Just as people have deceived many by saying God is love. God is nothing but love. They're just lying. God does not love everybody. Because if he loved everybody, guess what? He loves nobody. How can I prove that? Hey, ladies, your man loves you, but he loves everybody else too. Does he love you? Not saying that he can't love other people, but loving everybody is a stretch. Loving everybody, you can't love everybody. You can't love everybody. Loving everybody is a lie. You can't love the raper and the person that's been raped. You can't love the rapist and the person that's been raped. You can't. You can't love everybody. You can't love the murderer and the victim. You can't. You know what I'm saying? But let's drop that. Let's go to Jeremiah 17:9. This is why you gotta love more with action than you gotta do with just saying it. Because saying it don't mean nothing. You're saying it don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? But let's read Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things. Guess what? You don't know my heart. I love you. I know in my heart I love you. Guess what? The heart is deceitful above all things. You are deceiving yourself more than you're deceiving anybody else. Nobody believe in that. Nobody's believing that at all. The heart is deceitful above all things. Just from don't forget where your treasure is. Don't forget where your treasure is. So will your heart be also. You know what I'm saying? Those things that you cherish so much, that's where your heart will be. And she don't cherish you. You don't cherish her. All you do is cherish that box, and all she does is cherish that box of chocolate, them flowers, and everything else that you're gonna buy her. You know what I'm saying? The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Who can know your heart? Like a lot, like here what bugs me out the most, right? A lot of Christians like to say God knows my heart. Yeah, he does. And he knows it's wicked above all things. Who can know it besides him? Who can know your heart more than the Most High? All the nasty and evil, wicked things you desire. Who can know it besides the Most High? Hmm? Nobody else. Nobody else. Hold on. All right, bear with me. All right, let's see. Let's get with it. Let's go to Proverbs 27:5. And here's what you got to understand. Like, your woman's, like, if you're new to this truth, this might be your first Valentine's Day. You going to tell your woman you ain't going to buy her nothing. She going to get on your nerves. She going to, guess what? You got to go in. You got to tell her the wrongs of it. You got to tell her what I told you today, how it's following the customs of ancient pagans, of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. You're worshiping the gods of Greece and Rome. You're doing pagan stuff. You got to tell her that your master don't have rule over that household. You do. You're gonna have to tell her that. That's what you're gonna have to do. All right. Now let's get with it. Proverbs chapter 7, verse 5. Chapter 7. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 5. Open rebuke is better than secret love. Sometimes you just gotta get rough. Sometimes you're gonna have to hurt feelings. Sometimes you can't be all nice and coddling her. Sometimes you just gotta let her know that you just ain't doing it. Because at the end, it's gonna better her. You helping her keep the Most High's laws. When you see them out there doing all types of crazy madness, out there half naked, and tell her to go put some damn clothes on. Cover up. Open rebuke is better than secret love. Way better. Tell me my flaws. Tell me where I'm going wrong. Tell me where I'm sinning. I just might not know. No, we wasn't raised in this. I don't know everything. I don't know everything. We wasn't raised in this. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't raised in this at all. But open rebuke is better than secret love, and believe me. And on February 14th, you're not going to be the only man giving that woman a Valentine's. You're not going to be the only man giving her a Valentine's. It's like more than one man probably put some lashes on that woman with that bloody whip, with that dog skin. Bet you more than one brother did it. Now she got to be attached to a whole bunch of brothers because they hoping that she's fertile. It's madness. Celebrating our oppressor and his stupidity. You hear how Lupercalia started. It started off with Romulus and Remus being raised by wolves. Like, the whole thing's retarded. And these are the people that you decide to follow. You know what I'm saying? These are the people that you decide to follow. You know what I'm saying? Let's hold on. There's another one I want to get into. Hold on. Hold on. So let's go to Jeremiah 10 and 2. Oops. Oh, I did that one all wrong. Hold on. All right, much better, much better. Matter of fact, we're going to start at verse 1. We're going to start at verse 1 to put it in context. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. So this is the Lord speaking unto who? The house of Israel. Blacks, Hispanic, and Native people. This ain't the Lord talking to everybody. So if Chinese people want to celebrate Valentine's Day, go ahead till it's our time to rule, and nobody's gonna be celebrating. So right now, enjoy this wicked kingdom. It ain't for you. But when we rule, nobody's gonna be celebrating it. But us, this is speaking to Blacks, Hispanic, and Natives. Let's read it from the top again. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Guess what? Everything about Valentine's Day is the way of the heathen. Everything about it is the way of the heathen. You know what I'm saying? It's the practice of following another God. It's teaching our young daughters how to be the Valentine, or AKA the lover of whoever gives her chocolates and candies and buys her little cards with little nice words on it. You know what I'm saying? It teaches our babies to be gullible. You know what I'm saying? The way of the heathen is not for us. Nothing that they do is for us. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Here's another one. Here's the kicker. Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. Their customs are vain. Valentine's Day is vain. They're giving a woman chocolate and flowers and cards and gifts as a representation of love is vain. I don't know what women barely give men anything on Valentine's Day. But whatever they give it is not a representation of love. It's vain. It's vanity. Everything about Valentine's Day is vanity. And the customs of these people is vain. It's just that simple. I'm going to end that verse right there, but it's just that simple. And if you have any questions, type them on in. Type them on in. Because Valentine's Day is a disgusting, very disgusting thing. Very disgusting. Bear with me. You know, bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm looking for a certain verse. Bear with me one sec. Yeah, I believe I found it. Believe I found it. Hold on. Oh man. I cannot find it. There's a scripture about trying a friend. And who's a closer friend than your woman? I think I'm somewhere near it though. Believe I'm near it though. It's in Ecclesiasticus. I know that much. It's in the Apocrypha. Basically, the message is this, right? You're gonna have to try, like, these people. A man could say I love you all day, ladies. A man can say I love you all day, but if you ain't trying them, if you don't, there it is, I found it. As I'm talking, I found it. It's in the same chapter I'm looking at. Six and seven. As soon as I stop looking for it, that's when I find it. That's wow, that's crazy. As a matter of fact, we're gonna stop. We're gonna start a few verses up, and just in your head, replace in this world, replace friend. As I read this, in your head, replace friend with your spouse, because who's supposed to be closer to you? If you got to do this with a friend, how much more the person that you plan on spending the rest of your life with? How much more, right? But let's go with it. Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, like if you would get a friend, if you got to do this with a friend, how much more a woman? How much more a man? You know what I'm saying? If you would get a friend, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him. Prove them first. And don't be hasty to give them that title and give them that credit of that's your woman or that's your husband. This is the thing you're supposed to think about before you even have sex. Before you even have sex, you got to prove this person. But unfortunately, the brothers out there in the world, the sisters out there in the world, they're not doing that because they don't understand this truth. They don't understand what real love is. They don't understand you got to go through a relationship before you even have sex. You got to go through the arguments. You got to go through the yelling. You got to go through the cussing outs. You got to go through all that, the not calling each other for a couple of days, getting on each other's nerves. You got to go through all that. You got to prove each other. You got to go through the ins and outs, man. You got to go through the war together, come out glorious. If you're supposed to do that with a friend, how much more the person that you plan on laying with? How much more? So when they say I love you, you ain't rolling your eyes deep inside your head. No, you actually believe them because they have proved it through the arguments. They still with you through the headaches you were giving them. You gave them enough BS, and they still there. You got to prove that person loves you. You got to prove. They don't got to prove it. You got to prove it. You got to test them. You got to try them. Have them prove that they love you. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Let's continue real quick. For some, man is a friend of his own occasion. Like, that person might be there for their own reason, their own occasions, man. They ain't really with you to be with you. They're probably just there for the sex. You know what I'm saying? She probably just there for the money and the gifts. That's why you got to prove each other first. But let's continue. It will not abide in the day of trouble. That's why you got to go through all the arguments and stuff beforehand, before you lay with each other. If you go through that beforehand and you tell her that you're not celebrating Valentine's Day, well, guess what? She's either going to stay or she's going to go. But most of the time, if they're a wicked person, don't understand the law, guess what? They ain't going to abide in the day of trouble. And you telling a woman that you're not celebrating Valentine's Day, in her head, that's a day of trouble. And she's ghost. She's going to be out. She is going to be gone. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. And there is a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover thy reproach. Like, because y'all ain't do things properly, that woman of yours could become your enemy. That man could become your enemy because you're not doing it properly. Y'all just all in some emotional phase, and y'all, what they call it, kitty love or puppy love or something like that. Y'all just emotional in the newlywed stage, and then y'all lay with each other too early. You know what I'm saying? Don't even really know each other. Then guess what? Y'all gonna be ripped apart. Y'all gonna be ripped apart. Or y'all just gonna have to deal with it till y'all learn to like each other. One of the two. One of the two. Let's continue. Again, some friend is some friend is a companion at the table. It will not continue in the day of the affliction. But she might just be your woman at the table. You take her out to eat on Valentine's Day, she might just be your woman for that moment. He might just be your man for that moment. It's just an occasion. That's what she wanted in the first place, to go out for Valentine's Day. She probably got 3 or 4 other dates lined up anyway. You know what I'm saying? Valentine's Day is a wicked, evil holiday. Just like every other holiday is wicked and evil. It's not for our people to celebrate. It's not for us to celebrate. It's not for us to partake in. We have our own holidays to partake in. You know what I'm saying? And with that, I'm going to end the class. This is Priest and Officer of 1000 Rakar Ariyah. And with that, shalom.